For chapter 3 in the shader and effects cookbook, I'm going to take a slightly different approach, and they're going to be broken up into separate smaller videos. So this first video is for the first material that is demonstrated in the chapter, which is making a better glass material. So if you're looking for one of the other ones, look through the other videos, but this one is just mostly working on making this glass look nice. So since this is my first one, I am going to make my folder to save my assets assets into. And let me go ahead and save this map into that folder. And let's start. So let me slow that camera down. There we go. All right, let's begin. So I'm going to make my first material for this. Let me just make a new folder just to hold on my materials, just to make it cleaner. And we're going to name this material M_glass. And we're going to have to make sure that we set a few parameters inside of here, but let me go ahead and apply it to that glass in order for this to work properly. Make sure you have the material node selected, and then over here on the left, we are going to change out first the blend mode. We need to change the blend mode from opaque to translucent. We're then going to scroll down to the translucency panel now, down here. And we're going to switch this out a couple things. We need to turn on screen space reflections. And we need to change the lighting mode to surface translucency volume. So not volumetric, non-directional, surface translucency volume right here. Then let's expand out the advanced section. Down here, we'll need to change this translucency pass. We need to change it from after DOF to before DOF. All right. All DOF means is depth of field. So we're going to tell the engine to render out transparency before it does its depth of field pass. This will help it look better. Okay, so next we need to find the usage category right here. It's down a little bit further. And we will need to check on use with static lighting, which is right there. Make sure you do read this section in the book on how it works to actually explain what you're changing here so that you can use this in the future and know exactly what you're tweaking to make it work and why it works the way it does. So let's actually make it look closer to glass. So we're going to do a vector 3. So I'm going to hold 3 and click. And the color we're going for is kind of like a light blue. So maybe something closer to this. And we'll feed this into our base color. Let's then go and give it some metalness. One of the secrets to doing nice glass is that it actually uses some metalness to give it a much more realistic look. Even though it technically isn't metal, this really helps it out. So we're going to use a scalar parameter, SCALAR. Should pull that up. And we'll just call it metalness. The default value we're going to set to 0.9. And And let's hook this right into metal. I believe the reason we're doing it as a scalar is it automatically kind of does that. You know how before, if we right click, we can convert to parameter so that we can see it on the outside if we're making an instance. Notice that the scalar automatically does that for you. So it's kind of like skipping that step. So next, let's start working on actually making it like that reflective and refractiveness. And we're going to do that by using the Fresnel function that we've used previously. So if we search for Fresnel function, we're going to drop that down. And we're going to add that scalar parameter to that. So let's do scalar parameter. We're going to call this power. And we're going to set this to a value of 3. And we're going to hook this into the power of this, like that. Okay. We now need to add a bunch of scalars and lerps to control certain aspects of how we're going to do the refraction and on this. So bear with me as I make a whole bunch of these. So we're going to make a total of 6 scalars. The first one is going to be for frontal roughness. This will have a value of 0.05. I'm just going to duplicate this, Control D, and rename it. Let's see, where's that easy? Let's, oops. Up over here. Let's do that over here. Side roughness with a value of 1. Then we'll do our lerp, because remember we can just hold L and click. We'll lerp from this to this. I'm just going to select all these and duplicate it, Control D. This first one is then going to be called frontal opacity. And this will have a value of 0.2. And then this will be side opacity with a value of, I'm sorry, side opacity is 0.2. Frontal opacity is a lot lower, 0.05. We then need to do it one more time for refraction. So I'm going to just select all those again and duplicate. This will be frontal refraction with a value of 1.2. And this will be side refraction with a value of 0.8. This is where it's going to do, we might have to do some rearranging. So this has to go into here, into the alphas of all of these. So we might need to, oops, hold on. Make this a little bit cleaner. Let's see if we get this. Oops, 1 second. Get that. Hold on. I always have an issue remembering how to add those little nodes. Let me. There it is. You work in a lot of programs, you sometimes they all kind of start running together. Let's go there. That's a little bit cleaner. Okay. Let's keep going. Oops. So we could, if we wanted to, start hooking up some of this stuff. If you wanted to see what it looks like we could hook up that roughness into roughness. We could hook up the opacity into opacity. Where's that refraction though? Hold on a second. Okay, I found the issue. This is one of the reasons why I do like to do these videos is sometimes the book skips a step and they don't realize it, or something between versions changes and it's not automatically turned on. So what we forgot to do and was not mentioned in the book is let's select that glass node, like the material node. Scroll all the way down until you find refraction, and we need to change the refraction method to index of refraction. Now we have that refraction available to us to plug this in. So if we save it, and we go back here, we can see that we're getting a pretty good looking glass. We are getting that refraction around the edges. It's not perfect. We can push it a little bit further to look a little bit nicer. So let's keep going with this shader. Put this back. You can see it. We're going to play around with the opacity a little bit so that it does look a little bit closer to real glass. So let me try to move this up and give myself a little bit more room with this. Excuse me. Let's move it like this. There we go. We're going to hold T and click for a texture sample. And the texture sample that we're looking for is T_glass opacity mask. And this will just make it so it's a little bit more opaque, kind of like along the rim of the glass. Because right now, we're getting this kind of effect, and it's okay, but usually glass might end up a little bit more opaque around that rim. So let's get that set up. So we got our opacity mask. We're going to then make a new scalar. If we have space for that, scalar parameter. And we're just going to call this one rim opacity and set that to 1. We're then going to make another lerp node. So hold L and click. And we're going to feed this lerp into this one into this one, and use this mask, just the R channel's fine, as the alpha. We can then feed this one into the opacity. Let's try, come on, opacity, there we go. And let's save it. And let's take a look. So you can see we're getting it a little bit more opaque on the end. It's looking a lot more realistic of how we would expect that glass to look. It's a subtle change. But that is it for our glass. I'm going to move on with another video to go over doing the next couple ones. Make sure you do read over in the book, what some of these values are actually doing, and play around with tweaking them so you can get, possibly a look a little bit closer to what you might want versus what the book has.